Conte came in, complained about mentality. They sacked him. Now,
Transit TV, welcome guys to Reggie Transfer Talk. Today I have three of my friends out here to discuss, the relevant transfer rumors and stories out there in the media for different clubs. We've done a few on Arsenal, Manchester United, and I think Man City. So today we're going to still do, of course, Arsenal is the busiest club in the market right now, in the transfer market. So there's not going to be a news on Arsenal, Man United, and Man City. But today we're going to, put some focus on Tottenham, Newcastle, and any other stories out there. And to do justice to that today, I have my regular on the show, Ogum. Yeah, you also know Choma. She spiced up the channel last week. And today, Tony is joining us. I think halfway to the show as well, we'll have Richard join us as well. He's on his way home now. He said we'll join once he gets here. So guys, Ogum, you're welcome to the show. Any word for our viewers?
Thank you, Reggie. It's a pleasure. Welcome, Tony. Welcome, Choma. It's wonderful to have you guys on the show today. We just want to thank all our subscribers so far, over 1,000 subscribers within 1 month of starting the channel. That's excellent. We're grateful to everyone that has subscribed. Please continue to encourage your friends, share the show, share the channel as many people as possible so we can keep the channel growing. We're grateful for everything so far. We hope to grow together, continue to share wonderful moments together.
Choma, you're welcome to the show.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you, Ugum, and you're welcome, Tony. Such an honor to talk football with you guys. And I'm also saying thank you to the viewers. Just like Ugum said, keep signing on. We're here to do good.
Yeah, thank you. Tony, anything for our viewers before we get started?
I mean, first off, thank you for having me on this channel, and what's the squad you have here. It really states the value of this team you have, where you're doing an amazing job, and it's great to be part of it.
Yeah, okay, good to have you. Yeah, like Ugum said, our viewers were so grateful. This week is a very monumental week for us. We have our first over 1,000 subscribers. I think as of today we have 1,300 subscribers, which is really massive. One of my friends that was on the show, whom you remember, Bados, I was speaking to him last night. He said, hey, my friend, 2 weeks ago, you were begging for 200 subscribers. Today, you're talking about 1,300. That's a very massive achievement. I say, yeah, that shows that our viewers are enjoying what we're doing. We'll continue to try to, get better, even better. And we know that we have 3,000 views. So which means there are people out there who are enjoying the show who haven't subscribed yet. Sometimes you just forget. You think you have, but you have not. So try to remember to subscribe to the channel so that you get notifications when we drop our videos. So today, for a start, Tony is in the UK right now, and from our understanding, he shares the same wall with Tottenham Stadium. So we're going to rely on him today to give us some in-depth and more reliable info concerning Tottenham. And to start, then I will ask you, it seems that there is not much going on around the club right now. What's the general feel about Tottenham in regards to strengthening the squad and if there are ins and going out of players?
Oh, first off, you're very right, Reggie. I think after what will be described as a disappointing season for Tottenham Hotspur, because some of the set targets were not achieved, and on the back of it, there's also this fear about Harry Kane leaving. So we don't know yet, but it looks like he wants to stay. Some people are saying he definitely has to stay, and that begs the question as to whether he's really ambitious enough as a man, to chase certain things that you expect a footballer with his talents and achievements so far in the league to want to go for. And then in the transfer, like you said, trying to boost the squad, a club has to look forward, and it's all down to getting the right players. Last season, they have a good crop of players that we thought could have got things over the line, but it didn't just work out for this team. we saw it's a good one of the good news that came in was Koloveski that recently signed a 5-year deal with the club. It's a good one because he really showed potential. Remember, he joined. He was a loan move from Juventus.
Juventus,
Now they just signed him on a permanent deal.
Yeah.
Which is a good one. It's going to be a great addition, even if Kane gets to leave and they are able to get another center forward, which are very difficult to get at this moment. I think like it's going to be like a boost for them that this guy is staying back. Son is another player that we don't know if he's moving yet or not, because we just get into the transfer window, things can change all of a sudden. You may think a player is here, the next minute is moving. But when you look at the sports team, I think another area that they really need work on was the goalkeeping departments. We saw Loris last season. He didn't quite do well. And of course, he's no longer in his prime. So we expect him to leave if he hasn't left yet. Then they need another goalkeeper. The defense hasn't really been up and going. The midfield still need bolstering. We know what Son can bring if he eventually leaves, or has he left to PSG yet? If he leaves to PSG, there's going to be problem because he's been like a very good link between the defense and attack most times. His blistering runs and vision and ability to score with both feet. It's very rare to find players with such quality. So with Tottenham not playing the Champions League, it begs to be questioned whether they can be able to, even if they have the money, to attract players with good quality to the squad.
Okay, so you and Choma, when you guys look at this one, Tottenham, yeah, they haven't been winning titles or any trophies. But one thing you can say about them in the past, before Mourinho and say Conte and the Portuguese guy, what's his name again? Him. They were a very exciting and attacking side. That's what they're known for. That's the traditional Tottenham way of playing. But when Mourinho came up, obviously, we know him as a pragmatic coach who tries to squeeze out results, play on the counter. Conte came and did exactly the same thing. And this didn't really go well with the Spurs faithfuls. Now they hire a new coach that is supposed to bring back that exciting kind of play. So which means either the players they had before were misfit to what Conte and Mourinho were doing. And if they are not, there's going to be a change. And this obviously is going to mean a kind of holistic change because you now have to buy more players to suit the new way you want to go. So what do you think is going to happen in Tottenham with regards to this? First of all, Levy, we know is very, very shrewd. Is he going to be able to get in players that they have, or do you think that the player they have that doesn't really need more to transform into the original way Tottenham plays football?
Very good question. I want to believe that they can still use the tools they have. Maybe in addition to getting a few more to play the kind of football they want, because it's really almost the same set of players that played under Pochettino. They haven't had a lot of changes in their squad, which is one of the major problems they have, is that those players were taught to play a certain way, and then all of a sudden, with them still there, coaches were brought in that wanted them to play a different way from what they were used to. So maybe this may be a reset for them to go back to the original way they played under Pochettino. Their new coach, I saw his brand of football at Celtic. He's a really good coach. He played really, really nice counter, maybe not just counter-attacking, really attacking, nice attacking football at Celtic. What I suspect this guy may do is that he will explore the Asian market. He knows the Asian market really well. Japan, Korea, perhaps China. He's going to explore that market, and I see Spurs buying a few players from that area very soon. That's what he used at Celtic. Bought some really good Korean and Chinese players that scored really quite a few goals for him at Celtic. And so I think that adjustment is not going to be really hard for them. He will come in, have a preseason with the players, and maybe set them back to playing attacking football again. What I'm not sure of is the age level. You see that most of those players are aging now. they might not keep up to the intensity level that's needed in the EPL to keep playing attacking football and keep putting pressure on the opponents. I doubt whether they still have the legs, including Harry Kane. Harry Kane is getting on in age. Son is a typical Asian that they know how they can run all day. That's not a problem. But the rest of them, Harry Kane is dropping more and more. Still very effective, but drops a lot deeper these days than staying up there and just getting on at the end of passes. So they will need a few players to refresh them. And again, I think they will go to Asia to look for those kind of players that will help them with speed. Choma, what do you think?
Okay, so Choma, for you, like knowing Danny Levy, being very shrewd, first of all, to deal with in selling players or even buying. And from what Tony just said, it's very obvious that Tottenham really needs to spend some money because looking at the defense, they conceded a lot of goals last season. In the midfield, and I also know that they lack creativity. Of course, like Ugum said up front, Harry Kane probably needs some help. Song last season had a very, very bad season. Nobody knows the version of Song we're going to get this season coming up, if he's going to be prolific or not. So which means they really need to do some add-ons. And we know that resources generally are not always, available. So if we are to be in Tottenham today, what areas do you think are more important to start from in addressing, then they can manage the rest?
Okay, Tottenham. It's just Ugum suggested that he wants to turn Tottenham into a K-pop music group where you throw a lot of Asians together. They start to make music like all those boy bands, yeah. So Tottenham actually, I think first, where they were was going to make them better. When they were with Mauricio, it was supposed to make them better because we saw the work that guy put in there. And when he was about to hit, the last nail on the coffin, they booted him out. Okay, this guy knows how to build players. I think that is his area of expertise. He shaped all these boys that we're even talking about today. Yeah, fine. He must have taught them, a certain kind of play. Always put the ball on the ground and kick. They are not too creative on the aerial movements. I don't think they are people who, when we see those things they do in Man City, how Mahrez can pass a ball from his wing and he hits somebody's head at the left wing and, it's a goal and they put it on Haaland's feet and, he gives a tap. We don't have that in Tottenham. It's just about play football, play on the ground and, no creativity. And aside from their recycling culture, I'm so sorry, but that team should be great, but there's always this lace of mediocrity to them. I always say this, like, my friends know I say this all the time. They know how to do the great ensemble, but they just end up being very mediocre. I don't know what it is, but I'm believing that it could be a coach problem or coaching problem. Yeah, do they need to add more people to their team? Yes, they do. And if they need to go to Asia, I agree with you, Boom, they should go there, buy up guys that can use both feet. Like Song, do some magic. Okay, wherever they get them, just move them into the team. These guys are very locomotive in nature. Let them move. They are very sturdy too. Let them cross the balls and, do something different. Harry Kane has stayed there too long. He has become like one of the furnitures, probably the goalpost, yeah? So nothing is working.
Yeah. So Tony, now they've gone out and get this coach, Ange Postecoglou. I don't know how to sound that name.
Postecoglou or something.
Yeah,
like
the guy just won a treble in the Celtic League in the Scottish League with Celtic.
It's not the same.
I know the Conte before he went there, he had the track record. Mourinho, he did, but this guy probably is the most recent in terms of winning. Do you think Tottenham problem is also kind of mentality based? Though Mourinho can't really blame Mourinho because he qualified for a finals and they didn't allow him play it, so nobody knows what would have happened if he had played the finals. Conte, we know that he is erratic. He has his own issues. Yeah, what happened, the reason why he failed in Tottenham, I'm not going to really blame it on Tottenham as a club or Danny Levy. Conte himself has a lot of that blame as well to take. So what makes this guy special? What makes you think that this guy might be different or might have a different outcome from the past 3 coaches that have coached Tottenham?
First off, I don't think he's different. I don't even think there's anything special in him. You don't understand. Brendan Rodgers was outstanding at Scotland, right? Was it with Rangers? Yes. He had a Premier League experience, but he almost relegated Leicester City. The thing is, even if you have
Gerrard as well,
you know what I'm saying, Gerrard and the rest of them. The thing is, it all comes together. You need the right tools, you need the right players, you need the right board members or directors to get things done. But there was something you mentioned, which is mentality. Permit me to bring Man City into this. They made it to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. They couldn't cross it. Finally, they worked on themselves. They got to the semifinals. They got knocked out. When they got to the finals, you watched it. It was a different Man City. It wasn't all fancy, but they got it done. I bet you next time they get to the finals, nobody's going to develop a cold feet. Tottenham Hotspur, a couple of seasons ago, punched above their weight. They say success is easier to achieve than to maintain. When they got there, you expect someone like Levi to look at this. I mean, the template is there for you to copy from. Other clubs, how did they manage their success at this age? You did not. You didn't make the right signing. You allow players begin to age. Players started feeling more important. There wasn't really a good backup. You started making mistakes with coaches. Again, like the move they made with this coach. Nuno was doing well at Wolves, right? I mean, it was only on hindsight that I heard people saying, oh, why did they hire him? When they hired him, everybody was saying, yeah, he was a great coach, he's perfect. I would say the same thing I told Ogumsinachi when Arsenal hired Arteta. First, I said Arsenal wants to be seen as one of the top English clubs, right? And they went to hire a manager who has never managed being a head coach. He has potential.
Exactly.
He really had that responsibility of developing players at Man City. And I told him, for him to succeed at Arsenal, you need patience. So I'm not saying this man is better, but my problem is, will Levi and the rest of them and Spurs fans have the patience that Arsenal had with Arteta? Also recall that I wouldn't say he's lucky because he played good football anyway. I'm talking about Arteta at Arsenal, but what really helped that patience was his ability to win the FA Cup back to back. So it wasn't just that they saw potential there. There were results where managers like Unai Emery came and left without a trophy. Now, you brought in a Mourinho. We know his style. He liked to psych players up. And these players didn't live up to that standard. You sacked him. Conte came in, complained about mentality. They sacked him. Now, the current manager that has helped them see off the season, go and check results against Liverpool. Sometimes they leave it late. And you begin to wonder, why can't they stay 100% from start to finish? What is that thing happening there? So I don't think the problem with Tottenham Hotspur has to do with maybe only coach or players. You need to get the right players out of, the wrong players out of the club, bring in the right ones, get the right coach in, have patience with him, invest rightly. When I mean invest, like don't sign like Chelsea. Sign the right players, give it a season or two. These fans were once comfortable with being middle table teams. Sometimes when they get a good result against Arsenal, it's like a win for them.
The season is done.
Give it 2-3 seasons, and they'll probably get to that level. Otherwise, you go back to where you were. Look at how long it's taking United to finally get themselves back. They keep hiring and firing, forgetting what worked out for them was that they needed time. Ferguson used time to build a culture. He built a culture, a mentality in the team that the moment you walk through the United door, you know If you are not at your best, bro, you pray. If you are never at your best all the time, the exit door is wide open for you. And that is what Tottenham needs. It's not like a season hit. No. It's going to take
I think
long.
you're completely right. Yeah, I quite agree with you. I think I mentioned this in one of our shows, Ogum, that I remember when Arteta signed Arsenal, like you mentioned him, as inexperienced we all thought he was or he is. When he came to Arsenal, I remember a lot of his first 5-10 interviews, he never spoke about football. He never spoke about tactics. He was talking about culture, the air around the club, attitude, non-negotiables. He kept hammering on this thing. There are things that no matter who you are, if you can. But I remember when Arsenal was struggling to make it, that I said he's not going to sign any player that doesn't want to play for Arsenal. And people were laughing at him. What is this guy talking about? He should be begging players to come to Arsenal the way we. And I said, no, you need to understand what this club represents for you to come and play here. If you don't have that mentality, we're not going to sign you. So I think what you're saying is complete. That's where Tottenham find themselves right now. And like you rightly said, it takes a lot to come together. The coach they're going to bring has to be in the same line with the owners. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to sign all the players, but they should have a part, they should have a plan, they should have, Tata calls it that its own is in stage. They say we are in phase 3, now we're going to phase 4. So, you develop those roadmaps and, and milestones. As the season goes, you take them off. I think they gave the guy a 3-year contract. I don't know if that's enough to implement that. There has to be something to start with. So I agree with you. Tottenham needs to sit down and design. Unfortunately for them now, they just lost their football director. What's this guy's name? Fabio
PARTEY.
PARTEY. Yes, he was. They say he was involved 30 months ban. So I don't know if that means him losing his job at Tottenham, or they're going to be patient with him to do his ban and come back or appeal it. So that's also for me. It's going to be a very big blow to whatever project they have, or it might also be a blessing in disguise. Because, like you said, it's not about signing players. The last 2-3 seasons, Tottenham have signed players. They've signed players. I remember the last time.
Tony. I'm sorry, Reggie. Let me come in here. You are exactly on point. I think that one of the major problems of Tottenham is David Levi, or whatever his name is called. That guy has refused to. Levy, yeah, he's refused to put down the right structure that will help such a huge club grow. Right? He reminds me of the owner of Dallas Cowboys, the American football team here, that wants to run everything. He's way too old. He doesn't have the capability to be, the general manager of the club. Here, he wants to run the club. He wants to be the owner. He wants to be everything. Levi is a man that so far, everything that has developed under him at Tottenham, the identity that Tottenham has today has to be attributable to that man. No other person, because he's been in charge all these years. As far as I've known as Tottenham, he's been in charge of Tottenham. So we cannot say that this club is an underachieving club, perennially, working in the shadows, and keep that separate from the man that has made the key decisions over the years.
Yes.
He gets players in. One thing that I detest, that I don't like about that man, is when players grow in his club and want to move, right? He's been notorious for clinging onto players, making them stay against their will, right? And pretty much wasting their careers, right? And at a point, it comes back to bite, and it's been biting him. It will keep biting him until he learns that, you don't just hold players and claim to be wiser than everybody in the room. At a point, you see that you're not as wise as you think you are, because it comes back to bite you. And that's what's happening. He should get a proper director of football, get a coach to work with the director, and allow them work, allow them do their work. And they can bring in people that will fall in with the program that they have, like most of the other clubs are doing. Liverpool is doing the same thing. United will soon hire a director of football, but at least Ten Hag has a clear idea of what he wants to do. Same thing happening at Todd Bowley came in and bulldozed his way and saw that, man, I can't do this. If I keep doing this, Chelsea finished 8th and 12th. He will be surprised that Chelsea will be fighting relegation. So what he did, he took a step back.
Yeah.
He's now hired a coach that has a clear idea what he wants to do, and apparently he's following the coach's he's working with the coach in letting players go and hiring new players. That's how you work, right? But Levi just makes unilateral decisions when players want to go. He puts a huge sign on or whatever price on them and scares people away, makes them stay, and at the end of the day, it works against him.
Okay, so let's do one thing before we move on to our next topic or club. So let me ask us, each of us, just take one player, mention one player you think that the Tottenham signed. We're going to arrive at 4 players. So you choose, if you choose a goalkeeper, you choose a defender, midfielder, striker. So regardless of the loyalty to any club, if Tottenham were to sign this player today, you will want that this player, and this is what the player is going to bring to Tottenham, regardless of the amount it's going to cost. Tony, let's start with you.
Oh my. Yeah. It's not about loyalty, it's also about ambition sometimes.
Yeah.
First off, they need a good goalkeeper. So among the goalkeepers there, they can't prize Alisson away from Liverpool.
No, no matter, don't forget about the amount. Say if they can get this player.
I wish they can get Alisson from Liverpool.
What is going to bring to them?
A lot of stability.
I know, but I just want to know that club now. What do they need that he has that is going to drop?
What he has is I think I consider him to be the best keeper in the Premier League. He makes himself quite big and almost impossible for players to score against him one-on-one. Great position. He's also produced a couple of assists in the Premier League, so you can count on him for goals. You can count on him for great saves. He doesn't always lose his head. Liverpool's defense hasn't really been the best so far. So for him to be able to hold his own, anytime he's injured, Liverpool is in trouble.
Yeah. So, Choma, who will you give to Tottenham today if they ask you, if the world asks you, okay, do them a favor, give them one player, who are we going to give to them, and what would the person give?
I'm so sorry, but I love Rob Holding, but I think he could go to them, help them save, their back. Their back is looking a bit messy, but I think they could use a Rob Holding.
That's the best you have for them.
And they'll give him back. They'll give him back to me.
You're a true Arsenal fan. You're sabotaging.
I was like,
it's impossible. The move is impossible.
And give them back to me later.
We'll go over to you.
Because I have my eye set on someone. So if that person comes, they can come.
I know.
Okay.
Who will you give to Tottenham right now?
So, but I hope this never happens. But I would give them Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle. Bruno will, transform their midfield. He's all action, can defend, can attack, and bring that kind of player in. Harry Kane will consider going anywhere because he's going to create chances for Harry Kane, going to create chances for Son. Working with Kulusevski, they can create tons of chances and still remain defensively solid. I think he will really transform their midfield.
Yeah, for me, looking at the sport Tottenham has right now and the way they play, the player I would love to give them, if like you said, I hope it doesn't happen, is a reliable Thomas Partey. Because there's chaos when Tottenham plays. There's this, you have this guy from Belgium. What's his name again? Oh, the combative guy. What's that his name again?
It's Højbjerg.
They have Højbjerg. Is all over the place, but he doesn't have that knitted together. And Thomas Partey will, bring some stability and calmness in that midfield and help other players to show themselves. So if you ask me, if Tottenham were to be serious, they should be looking for a player in the middle of the park who can bring some calmness to their play and still, help them to transfer. Because up top, Tottenham is not bad. They have Harry Kane, they have Kulusevski, they have Son. These 3 players can cause problem for any defense in the Premier League. But what happened in the last 2 seasons is that they are more involved in trying to help Tottenham not concede goals than to help them score goals. And this has been a very big problem for them. And from there, let's go to, we mentioned Newcastle. That's another club I want us to talk about. Newcastle, the money bags from the Arabian nations came and got this club. We all thought that they are going to just throw money at the club, buy all the players and cause mayhem in EPL. But they decided to go a different route. Apparently, they have studied Man City in the last 3-4 years and see how the club is being run. They decided to go that route. It looked like it's going to be a long route to success. But, I mean, after one season, they're in the Champions League. When they came and got this boy from Arsenal, what's his name again? Joe
Willock.
People were like, is that what they came for? I thought they're going to sign, they're more serious, they're more ambitious than this. But they went about their business little by little and built that club. And now Newcastle is in the Champions League. Today, I think it's confirmed they're going to sign Tonali from AC Milan, which is a very, very good buy for them. And, and they're linked to Madison. And there's also a rumor that they're going to get Ruben Neves on loan back from Saudi Arabia that got him. So I have a feeling that all EPL clubs should be wary of Newcastle. And it looks like they're preparing themselves for the Champions League as well. What's your feeling around Newcastle going? If these deals, if Madison were to join, they get Ruben Neves, they have Tonali, they have Bruno Guimaraes in the midfield, they have Joe Linton, they have Joe Willock, and they signed Isaac in January. Wilson is there as well. Their defense, of course, I think is the second or third best defense in the league last season. Their coach is a coach I know I like because he likes to play football the way it should be played. I tried to do that last season and got result with it and achieved with it. So what's as an Arsenal fan or as a top 4 at least contender in the EPL, what's your worry about Newcastle? What are you worried about most about them going to next season if this news we have to go through? Choma,
okay, Choma, go on.
I was just making a comment. I think they're too tall for Champions League. Just something funny. They're just too tall. They are hideously tall. Tall players. Okay. Too tall.
So you don't have any worry. You're not scared about the way their squad is shaping up.
No, I'm actually very scared of those guys. Okay, because there goes, the magic money offers. Okay, there's something about this Arab money that comes and fixes and builds and puts everything in order. Okay, in case you guys don't know, I think they just got one of Edu's I can't say apprentice. I think one of Arsenal's one of the members under Edu. I think Newcastle they took the person. I think they signed the guy onto their.
I think I heard that. I can't remember the name now. Okay.
Actually, so not only are Newcastle like buying players, they're now taking people's staff. And what's like these guys are very wise. Who else to take a staff from if not Arteta and Edu? Because these guys, as far as I'm concerned, not because I'm an Arsenal fan, these guys are like 100 on strategy now. Like Arteta and Edu are like, they have to be the biggest bromance ever. Like these guys are doing wonders. And Newcastle goes and takes a staff from there. So that means Edu is missing a staff.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine what that staff is going to go and teach them over there in Newcastle when they're already that close-knit. So am I scared of them? Yeah, maybe because I'm a short girl. So they're hideously tall. Too tall. and those guys are very strong. I don't know if you know this, Ugum. Like, do you see the way they are built? They have speed. They run. There's this guy, he scares me. I'm trying to remember his name. Army Run.
Yeah, they left. Yeah, he did very well last season. Yeah.
They have Army Run. That guy is like, he sees from his back. He has eyes behind.
Yeah.
He's a very scary, tidy player.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. So looking at Newcastle right now, what's your biggest worry being a competitor, against them going to next season? The way the squad is shaping up.
Yeah, I think my biggest worry is the combination of the money that they have and apparently they have a solid plan. You know, when you have money and you have people that are actually thinking and have a plan, then you have a big problem. You know, Chelsea, with all due respect, don't scare me as much as Newcastle do, because you know it's a combination of money and clear planning, you know, clear thinking, and you can see the way they are pacing themselves, how they are buying players, the kind of players they are buying. Look at what they did last season. They've turned Joe Linton, that was a butt of jokes in the EPL, into a Brazil regular. He played the 2 games
Yeah, I watched the game.
over the weekend.
Yes.
Yes. So with the players that they have and the way they've developed them, adding Tonali now to that midfield, and perhaps a few other pieces, it's going to be hard. There will be, you know, top 4. They will be there for the top 4, tussling with the rest of the teams towards winning the league. And tell me, it's easy. You can even be predicting top 4, and they'll be there contending for the league because they have what it takes. They have defensive stability. They have a coach that's not ruffled. He's calm under pressure. You know, and they know what they are doing, and the money is there. So yes, they are a force to be reckoned with, and anyone that's underestimating them will suffer for it, as far as I know.
I told you, any word on Newcastle? What's your feeling around the club, the way they're shaping up the, you know, what in particular is your biggest worry if you're a competitor against them, you know, facing them going to next season?
First is the ambition, because they know the money is there. You did say something about, we thought they are going to spend money, maybe buy everybody in the market. All thanks to the financial fair play rule. They can do that. They can spend more than they earn. So you can now see that they are very strategic in the way they are picking up players, because they know what they need to do. They need money coming in. They qualified for the Champions League. Next season target is to do the same thing again. Probably get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League and qualify again for the Champions League. And I tell you, money will keep coming in. I don't want to say this, but we know what happens. You see, City is having problem now. But okay, I will say it anyway. Play consistent Champions League football for 2 seasons. Go at the back, do some dirty paperwork, and say you made this amount of money. Then hit the transfer market like a madman and sign every big player you can possibly sign. It can happen. Leave the investigation for later. So the current squad that they have, and you see the kind of players they are targeting in the market, these are players that have experience of the game. These are players that have the lack of the kind of skills, the kind of players that were like cult heroes in their respective clubs, who understands what Madison is so good when he stays injury free. If he comes in, he's going to help things tighten up in that squad. This team have Maxima, and they made him look like he's not even a regular. Yeah. Look at Alexander Isaac coming in. Bourne has been like outstanding in defense and the rest of them. So this team is the ambition that scares me the most. And I'm telling you, if there's any other team that's looking like they are going to get displaced again from Champions League position, it's looking like Chelsea will. United have to really pray hard to be there. Of all the teams, I think I will pick Manchester City and Newcastle as the team with the best plan so far going into the next season. Arsenal, this is my opinion, is only the third team. Why did I say this? Because Arsenal, I love the way they've been going about the transfer market, but I wish like they have like the purchasing power that City has, you know, in buying any player that they want. I'm sure they would have gone for Osimhen because they need a very big center forward.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
but not going for him right now is definitely because of money, because they have 1 or 2 things to really patch up in defense and midfield. But I think the plan that Newcastle have going into the next season is one that will see them play the Champions League and even go far in the Champions League.
Yeah, for me, the thing that scares me most about Newcastle is I don't have their results, their stats for last season off on top of my head right now, but they're very hard to beat against the top teams. They managed to get their coach deployed a very pragmatic system of play last season. When he is playing against the top teams, he cannot try to surrender possession, especially away from home. Just try and get a result. Then when they go to the lesser teams, they impose themselves. So this shows a coach that knows where he is. And I think he learned from his experience in Bournemouth. You know, he's the one that brought Bournemouth from the lower division into EPL. And he tried to play the same style of football in EPL, and they got overrun and went back to relegation. So apparently he has learned from that experience. So since he came to Newcastle. Newcastle on their day, they play very good football. But if you see them play against Man City or Arsenal or Man United or Chelsea away from home, you'll be wondering, you'll be seeing they pack the balls, the brand of football. And sometimes they get away with it, get a draw or maybe a 1-0 win or something like that. And this is practically what you need to really do well in the EPL. I remember when Arsenal was going to play Man City away, our second leg of our game, I told you, if I were to be Arteta, I wouldn't go toe-to-toe with Man City. I'll try to be pragmatic, knowing that if I don't lose this game, it gives me some chance to continue to stay up top. We all know what happened. So I think that's my biggest worry about Newcastle. And like you said about the Champions League, now they have the money, they have the presence in Europe to attract players. It's not really playing in Champions League and getting the money that helps you sign players. It's players wanting to come because they know they're going to play in Europe. And once you have that, it helps you to attract players. And like you said, that if you sign the right players with the right mentality, sometimes it's not even the coach. But these guys, they have signed 3-4 years contract. They want to continue to play in Europe. Sometimes they take the game by themselves and try to get results. And which was the issue I had with Leicester. You remember I told you that when you watch Leicester, you don't see a set of players who on their own, for their own pride, want to do something and to change their fate, and they end up in relegation. So yeah, I think we can all agree that Newcastle is a team to worry about going to next season. But again, just like everybody saying about Arsenal and what we achieved last season, it also left to be seen how they're going to manage to stay where they have arrived last season. I don't know if Eddie Hall has that experience or has experienced this before, or is that stable, technically and mentally. So from what we can see right now and the way their squad is shaping up, of course, they're going to be a team to worry about. But we wait and see. So we move to, obviously, we have the big news out there in transfers now has to do with Arsenal, Man City, and Man United. Today, the news broke that Man City are now ready to enter into the race to sign Declan Rice. Arsenal is also preparing their 100 million bid to submit. I don't know where to place this one. And I think Fabrizio also sent out a tweet this afternoon that says Declan Rice is open to Man City or Arsenal. I don't know how true, I don't know how true that is. If Declan Rice actually said that, I think Arsenal should, if it comes to a bidding war and he's open, after giving them his word that he wants to sign for Arsenal, I think they should walk away from the deal. That's my own personal opinion, because you're not going to win that war with Man City if it gets to that. Sometimes players you want to be able to, because the game now is getting to a point where the agents and money decides where a player goes. Sometimes I think it should be more than that. You should be able to identify where best suits you. Once you get a reasonable offer, I think you should be able to go to that club. So I don't know what you guys think about that deal. If you have a better development or news on that deal, Ugum or Tony or Choma, anybody can go for it.
You made a very important point. Last year, Rafinha was an example. Rafinha told Arsenal he was open to a move, but he wanted Barcelona as his top choice. Arsenal made an offer. Chelsea came. Actually, I think United came in with a bigger offer. And as they were celebrating, Chelsea came in with an even bigger offer. As they were celebrating, Barcelona came in with a small offer. But the fact was that the player said, I only want to go to Barcelona. Barcelona is the club I want,
Yeah.
right? He ended up at Barcelona. Yes, agents and clubs. West Ham want a bidding war because they want to make as much money as possible. Possibly Rice's manager or whoever it is or agent will probably want the biggest offer so that he or she can make the most money. It lies with Rice. Who does he want to go to? Does he want to go to the highest bidder, or does he have a preference for a particular club? From what we've heard so far, Arsenal, they've done a lot of work behind the scenes over a number of months. And the idea, the impression everybody had up until this moment was that Rice wants to come to Arsenal. Like Reggie said, if City brings a bigger offer, more than what Arsenal can possibly offer, and Rice decides to go to City, so be it. That's the world of football, right? Arsenal fans, no, YouTube, whatever channels, newspapers, sites, they make all the money off emotional Arsenal fans. They're everywhere in the world. There are millions of them. And so any little thing they say online, the whole world cracks. Twitter breaks into pieces because Man City beat for Rice. People get so emotional. It is what it is. You know, I'm waiting for preseason so I can enjoy my club, watch them train, see who they bring in. You know, the disappointment is there at the point, oh, we're missing out on this player that you've kind of imagined how this player will be in your team, and you end up missing out on the player. You're not part of a negotiating team. You don't know what must have transpired behind the scenes. You know, Arsenal, if they have 100 million and say, okay, this is 100 million that we want for Rice, and City bids 120 million, are they going to sell the Emirates and get another 20 million to add to buy one player? No, you offer what you can offer. Yeah, if you cannot do it, City themselves are an example. They went to bid for. Who did they bid for? They've done it over and over. They bid for a player, Harry Kane, I think last year or 2 seasons ago. Bid for Harry Kane. When they got to their limit, they were like, no, if Levy or whatever his name is called is going to just keep stringing us along and increasing the money, we walk away. They walked away. The next season, they bought Haaland, you know? So, and you can see what happened after buying Haaland. So, yeah, if Declan Rice gets to a point where they cannot do it anymore, offer all your marks, yeah, move on. Look for the next player. You know, the world is full of talented players. They can come to Destiny Soccer Academy in Nigeria. I can give them midfielders that can perform, like Declan Rice.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. The only thing I want to add is, like you rightly mentioned, sometime this week, Man United fans, we are very sure that Kim was going to sign for them. Today, the guy is in Bayern Munich. Nobody is talking about hijack. It's just that news just went like it never happened. But once it's Arsenal, it becomes a big news. They are not serious. They are not ambitious. Nobody is questioning why Kim went to Bayern Munich. That news is dead. Like it never happened. You know, so you know that exactly. So when it has to do with Arsenal, it becomes a big meal. Everybody wants to make meal out of it.
Reggie, may I come in here?
Okay.
I understand you guys are Arsenal fans, and I can feel the pain in Ugum's voice, and it's disappointing because up until now we thought like I myself.
Sorry, did you say pain in my voice?
I feel like you know, when you talked about how the internet is going to react, or maybe YouTubers and all that. See, the thing is, it's not about how the market or the fans are going to react, the football world. What I'm looking at here is the team that came for him. But there's something Reggie said that is very important. That thing is, it doesn't matter whether City bidded for, have a bid for him or not. The moment he started considering that, I think Arsenal should back off. You know why I said that? At the end of the day, you want players who wants to play for Arsenal, like we said. Clearly, probably he felt like, okay, these guys are my best suitors. If it doesn't work out, he may want to pick up Arsenal as a backup. Arsenal, on the other hand, should start looking for an option. I don't think it will be a nice thing if he ever gives that kind of body language like that makes him feel like he can get playing time with City, or he feels he can win more trophies, or okay, it's Manchester City. I think Arsenal should just back off from the deal. It doesn't matter if they come back and say, okay, we're ready now. Just back off, because at the end of the day, you get this player, there is no guarantee that he won't have his mind elsewhere.
Yeah,
Something wrong, he start giving attitude.
Yeah, just like what happened with Modric. I know he might still come to life, but you know, you can see it looks like he was carried and dumped at Stamford Bridge as against his will going to Arsenal. Yeah, sometimes you know that happens. Chum, I know we were talking like about this before. Tony, I still wanted to touch on this. Kai Havertz looks like it's a done deal for Arsenal. Now that it's confirmed,
Looks like all he's done.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. So I know the first time we talked about him, you were very, very hysterical about it. Now that it's confirmed, what do you think is going on in the head of Arteta that made him, looking at that Arsenal sport now, that made him to go all out for Kai Havertz and for big money as well?
Like yesterday. Okay, like you want to know what I feel?
No, yeah. What do you think? What do you think Arsenal bought Kai Havertz for? What is he going to bring to the sport?
I think Arteta wants him. Arteta thinks he's, you know, Arsenal all-time dressing room candidate. It's not just about the dressing room. He's like, he has the mentality he wants. I think Arteta, I want to trust Arteta actually, because I've trusted him and, you know, he has given me reasons to keep trusting him. So yeah, I talked about Kyle last week because I wasn't so sure, you know, he's the sort of player I want at the moment. Okay, so if Arteta says, okay, fine, I'm going for Kai, and he goes and gets Kai for that amount of money, it shows seriousness. It shows that he actually have seen something, you know, in Kyle. But if Kyle doesn't perform, we'll just use him for all this toothpaste commercial because he seems to have a nice smile. Yeah. Or we'll keep auctioning him at any charity in Emirates because, like, that's you don't pay. You don't, like, seriously. I don't like. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So Tony, looking at Kai Havertz, and I know I've not heard anybody or met anybody that when that news broke, Arsenal was going for Kai Havertz, that was 100%. Wow, that's going to be a good signing for us. I don't think I've met anybody like that. Yeah, a lot of us don't dismiss it because of what your man mentioned, because we trust Arteta, we trust Edu, the transfer they have made in the last 2-3 years have almost worked out. So probably that's what they're seeing that we're not seeing. But having processed that news now for 1 week or 2 weeks, Tony, what do you think, you know, Kai is going to bring to the Arsenal squad?
I think he's coming in very much first off as a backup. I said a backup because he's going to back Odegaard up big time. Okay, Odegaard is the only attacking midfielder that I know Arsenal has right now, and they don't have a backup that is close to that's close to the Odegaard in any way. Often when he gets pulled out, if you bring up this Vieira of a guy, he hasn't really developed into the player we thought he was going to be for Arsenal. So this guy will be a good backup. He can play for the right as well as a midfielder. He's a huge talent. Forget about what happened at Chelsea. You know, he's such a good talent, and he's playing in the Premier League for a while. The only problem I have with Kai Havertz moving to Arsenal is just the money. I felt like because the transfer market is funny right now, the amount is a little bit ridiculous for a player of his age. But let's not forget he's a big game player. He's one who has been with Chelsea, won trophies with them. I think that is what Arsenal missed last season. I told this to Gumsnatch, and it was like, oh, no. I think Arteta is trying to build the spine of a team, whether they are playing or not, the kind of players that have a certain kind of mentality, that have been there before, that would look at players and say, we have done it. Yeah. Some people said, oh, Zinchenko wasn't really up to what they expected, but he's a good player. He played for Manchester City. He came in with a different mentality. That was what Arsenal needs. Arsenal needs these players to come in. And Arteta, being the kind of guy he is, I believe he will know how to blend this guy with the other guys. And, you know, it will be good. It also helps in different formation. Because sometimes you just need to back up that midfield with players who can hold, make good passes. Okay. After Odegaard, Partey is good, but he tends to be safe. Arteta needed players that can stay on that level. Kai is good. He can make good runs into the box. He can make passes. He can be a backup for Odegaard, and even can play in other wings. I think it's really a very good signing. Nice that Arsenal is doing good business with Arsenal, with Chelsea anyway.
Yes, yeah. Quickly, for a minute, do you have anything to add to the Kai Havertz deal?
No, I agree with Tony. He's going to offer a lot of things that we do not have. He's going to offer some verticality in our offense. He's 6'3", as opposed to Edin Ketia at 5'11", being the tallest forward we have. So he's going to offer something in the air. I hear out of all the goals he scored for, but how many goals he scored for Chelsea? He scored about 10 with his head. So he's going to offer something aerially, in addition to his ability to make really good runs, open up channels, offer different options in attack. The only thing I differ from Tony is that I wouldn't call him a backup. I call him an option. For teams that want to win the league, they get options. They don't buy backups. So if you call him a backup, it's a different thing from him being an option that can start any game. You cannot say, hey, this guy is on the bench. He's going to be on the bench always. He's going to start some games. I see what no other person has seen this so far. Most people have seen him in the Shaka role. Most people have seen him as a forward. I see him also as an option for the right wing, so that Bukayo Saka can rest sometimes. I think he can play that role really well. That was what he played at Leverkusen. But nobody seems to, we've always needed someone to relieve Bukayo, so Bukayo can rest sometimes or even play other positions in the team. Saka has stuck to that right flank because there's no other person that has been able to bring anything close to what he brings in that flank. So that's why I really like Havertz option. And Anthony, I think you misunderstood some of my reaction to the previous question. I was actually calling out Arsenal fans that react to everything they see negatively, online. If you're going for a player and you hear that another big team is coming, people just react so violently online because of that. And there's really no reason for that,
Yeah. For me, on the Kai Havertz thing, now that it's a done deal, there are like Uguma. I'm going to pick two things. You and Tony mentioned about him. Like the guy is 24 years right now. After signing up for 4 or 5 years, so he's going to be 28 at the end of his contract. He's still within his prime. So 2 years from now, he does well in Arsenal. You have value. One thing that Man City has done very well, we can say that they have the money. Man City has always sold their players for good value, like Chelsea is just doing. So who says Arsenal shouldn't be looking at that direction too, to have players that even if you want to get rid of them, you still get value for them. Secondly, like you talked about options. I don't think last season Arsenal was criticized for not having good squad depth. Now, people are now beginning to query them. Is he going to come and bench Saka? Is he going to come and bench Martinelli? That's not the mentality. The mentality is if Saka is not as available, you have somebody that can play his role as good as he is. Just like what Trossard did when he came in. People were saying Trossard should have gone to another club. What's he going to ask? Is he going to play Martinelli? But he had a lot of games. He contributed 7 assists in how many months, or in how many months to Arsenal. So I think that buy is going to be then lastly, Kai Havertz is very, very technical. Very, very technical player. And I see him, like you said, Tony, that he might also come, or when he's on the pitch, Arteta might have a different way of playing. One thing Arteta was guilty of last season was this is how Arsenal played from beginning to end of the season. They were so good with it and they got results. But of course, in EPL, we know teams will figure you out. Teams will start to work, find a way to figure you out, which is going to happen next season if Arsenal doesn't kind of tweak it. Most of the time, they interviewed Xhaka. he always mentioned that Arteta encouraged him. Arteta himself also said that I encouraged him to try and get into the box as much as he can. In that kind of responsibility, Kai Havertz is one of the experts. That guy knows how to identify space and gaps in the pitch. So yeah, I think Arteta, looking at it very well and in-depthly, it looks like Arteta has a plan, what he wants to use that guy for. And Kai Havertz looks like somebody that knows what he wants. I don't think his role in the squad was, if it was not, laid on the table for him and explained to him, I don't think he would have, started that move, because in Chelsea, he was not under pressure to move. He had a big contract. He earns good salary. So he was not going to be under pressure to leave Chelsea. For him to agree to go to Arsenal at the first request, obviously something would have been said to him, a plan would have been laid on his table, and he says, hey, I'm up for this, and he moves. So I think that's that for that. Then we'll go to this guy, Timber. I hear the deal is almost concluded as well. I don't know if anybody have anything to say about that player, the defender from Ajax, the Arsenal, bidded for this week. From the news I heard this morning, it looks like they've agreed, and all is left now is medical. Choma, have you been able to do any little research on him? What do you want to say about Jurien Timber?
Well, I know he's a twin. If you're asking for research, he's a twin actually. Well, have I watched any of his games in Ajax? Not really. I guess I'll have to go back to a lot of YouTube videos and all of that. But this is what I think, yeah. There's a need to strengthen the squad, seeing that we're in the Champions League and we have a lot of work to do. And, I spoke to someone today who seemed to have been following him, before Arsenal called, yeah. And he thinks he's a good fit. He's good on his legs, his study, mentally, he's okay. And I saw in his stats, I think he has some goals and, very good coverage and, yeah, retrieval. So he's a go.
Yeah, Tony, do you have anything to say about Jurien Timber?
I think he's a great lad. He had a very good season with Ajax. He really played very well, and he's young. 30 million, not bad, considering how the market is at the moment. His competitions are likely going to be Saliba and the White. And I wouldn't, like Ugum said, let me call him an option, okay? Because he's coming in with little or no experience of the Premier League. So he certainly needs time to really gel into the squad. But I think this is a good move. Something you mentioned earlier when you were talking about Kai Havertz, about formation and all that. He's also that kind of player that can help, in changing pattern of play, even though he's a defender. One of the reasons I think Arteta was really bent on playing a particular pattern was that depth issue. Having players with that depth is, if your squad does not have that depth, it will really be difficult for you to even experiment in games that
Very critical, yeah.
So I think it's a good signing. 30 million, not bad. The transfer market now is very funny with the amount we hear him, and he had a very good season. I think he's a decent defender. But the future will tell.
Okay, before we move on, yeah, I think he is like last season. I know Arsenal was playing this inverted team with Zinchenko, and for the most part of the season, before Tomiyasu got injured, we used to always sub Ben White at the 65th and 70th minute. When he got injured, Ben White was forced to almost play 90 minutes of all the game. He didn't have that energy because of the moving up and down. So probably with Timber, if you have to sub, if Zinchenko is not playing, then probably you play Timber on the right, then play Tierney on the left, because all of a sudden they knew that Tierney was going to Newcastle is dead. Probably Arsenal want to keep him. They don't want to sell Tierney. So if they get Timber will invert on the right side, then Tierney will probably stay on the left side to balance the team. And when Zinchenko is playing, they can play Ben White on the other side. So probably that probably is the option. Like here, let me join you and to use that. But probably that's the option they're signing the guy for. And obviously, starting the season with Ben White will give him maybe 2, 3, 4 months to stay in the squad, understand how the team play before he's thrown into the into the mix. I remember when Arsene Wenger was the coach of Arsenal, he used to sign important players in January. So he will leave you there. He might not play any game. I remember when he brought Ebue to take over from Lauren. Everybody was saying, who is this guy? Ebue never appeared for any game for like 3-4 months. He was just there learning how the team functions. At the end of the season, he played a few games. By the next season, Lauren was gone. And Ebue was a hit for Arsenal. Probably that's what they're doing with this guy as well. The last on Arsenal is...
Please, can I... you didn't ask me anything about Timber. I have things to say. This guy, I think so many people don't really know. United, the first target when Ten Hag joined United was Timber. That was the first player he wanted to buy. Right?
Okay.
But the guy said no. He was advised against it by Van der Sar, who was the coach of the Dutch national team. And it was prior to the World Cup. And Van der Sar advised him that going to United was going to work against him playing for the Dutch at the World Cup. So he stayed back. And Arsenal were going after Martinez. When they saw they couldn't get Timber, they pivoted to Martinez. And of course, Martinez loved Erik ten Hag and chose to go play for United. That's answering what Tony said about him being new to the EPL. Martinez last season was his first season in the EPL, and he was a hit for United. So Jurien Timber won 2 Dutch championships. Yes, Dutch league may not be the highest there, but he won that. He was the Dutch player of the year in the ability 21-22 season.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yes. So
okay.
Yeah. So we're talking about a highly impressive, highly technical player here. Very accomplished at his young age, with over, I think, about 120 something appearances for Ajax. You know, many of those appearances in Europe. So we are talking about a credible, dependable defender here that's going to hit the ground running for Arsenal. In addition to what you said about him offering, the playing the Zinchenko role on the right and all that, he's somebody that can play right back very comfortably. I hear he's excellent on the ball. He's not very tall, but he's able to really play as a central defender, play as a fullback. And I think there's a joker there for the midfield position with that young man.
Right.
Watch out for what Arteta may do with him.
Yeah. I think defensively as a central defender, he looks to me like a technically gifted Rudiger. Then remembering, casting my mind back to what Pep did with John Stones in Man City, I see him also playing that kind of role for Arsenal, where Arsenal will have 4 center backs, but he'll be the one that will be detailed to kind of go into the midfield and help Arsenal take control of the midfield, so that he might be playing that role for Arsenal. We're going to rely on you on the next player, being Thomas Partey. It looks like you're his neighbor or something like that. So what can you tell us about Partey? There's the news, the noise is getting louder that he might be leaving Arsenal this summer. It's a surprise one for all Arsenal faithfuls, but I don't know. Is there anything you want to tell us about Partey, and what do you think about that move?
Yeah, it's a sad one. Sad one because he's a player we all love and we know what he brings to the table. But we've heard conflicting stories. Some of them say that he requested for the move, and the club obliged and are open to selling him. Charles Watts on YouTube, a credible, very credible journalist at Arsenal, said that as far as he knows from the stories he heard from Partey's camp, was that Partey is happy at Arsenal and happy to stay. So we have conflicting pieces of information coming. But I know that he had some off-field issues that we have spoken about in hushed tones. And one thing I noticed watching a lot of Arsenal games was that he was always booed at away games. Many people may have not have noticed it. I noticed it. Whenever I touch the ball, people will boo because of those off-field issues. I don't know whether that has affected him mentally, whether that's playing into this situation. Maybe one of the reasons why he's looking to move on. Otherwise, I know he's loved by Arsenal fans and he loves the club. So there must be something strong that would make Arsenal be open to selling Partey and make Partey be open to moving. But I'm keeping my mind open because it has to be something stronger than what we can see sitting in our armchairs and just reading online.
Yeah, I think that takes us back to what you mentioned earlier on about fans. And I think I said it in our last episode too. People need to begin to understand that we as fans will only feed off what we are given. We only see 90 minutes of these players every week when the season is open. We don't know what goes on from the beginning of the week to leading up to the games. In terms of transfer, like we have all agreed here, it's not a straightforward, cut jacket. I want to sign this player goes. There are so many things that come into play before these transfers, come to light. So that one for sure. There has to be something that is not related to performance that is going to make us now want to cash in on Partey right now. And why I also feel so is because the amount of money we have had that has been being bidded or tabled for him is not, for me, doesn't reflect what's going on in the market now and the quality that he has, because Partey was a top performer for Arsenal this season that just finished. So if Saudi Arabian market are bidding loads of money for players and they're only coming in with 40 million for Partey, then probably they have information that favors them, that is making them drop that kind of bid. Because if they really want to come and sign Partey from Arsenal based on what he has offered the last 2 seasons, barring his injuries, they should be talking about 70, 80 million. Then and stuff like that. So. If it's not about the off-field incident like Ugum mentioned, if Arsenal is considering any bid below 50 million for Partey, I don't think that doesn't show a club that really know the value of the assets that they have. So we watch this one and see how it's going to pan out. So let's move to Manchester United. So let me ask you this question. It looks like Man United has made Mason Mount their priority signing this summer. For this open 2-3 weeks, it's all about Mount. They go in with a bid, Chelsea rejects them, they come back with another one. It looks like they have managed to strike an agreement right now, 55 million for Mason Mount. Here he's going to earn about £185,000 a week. So this shows a strong belief or faith in a player by a coach, by the club. Looking at Man U today, what is Mason Mount? Where is his place in that squad? Is he, like you mentioned, is he going to be an option, or do you see him walk into that team and start a game for Man United?
I think he's certainly an option, and he can certainly start some games. It's very difficult to actually predict what's happening or what's in Ten Hag's head. I can only say what we know. We can only say what we know about Mason Mount, a brilliant player in his day. Things are happening at Chelsea that has made some very brilliant players to look like average at sometimes, or look like they don't know what they're doing because of the results. But if you look at the United squad, and we know Mason Mount, the positions he can play. On the right side, we have Anthony doing well on there. We have Rashford on the left side. So that is where he becomes an option. If he wants to play as a midfielder, rarely I don't think Ten Hag will ever take him in place of Bruno. So he limits his chances, but he's equally young. He's one who is willing to fight. And like I said, we can't predict what Ten Hag wants. But I can say one thing for sure. For United to go for Mason Mount, they know why or what they want to use him to achieve come next season, because there have been a couple of games last season that they had problems with. Just like Arsenal, they've played a certain pattern where if any of those key players are not really doing well, United struggle. And that's why you see this guy start pushing himself into the game, pushing himself off field to get goals like Casemiro and the rest of them. And if it's not working, then they are really struggling. Mason Mount is that guy that can, inject that freshness when these guys that some of these Premier League defenders have already figured out. He can come in with a different sense. They can probably, push him up there. He can hold the ball very well. He can hit from range. He can, bend it or do whatever. He's a guy who can score goals, who can create, who can make runs. So he's definitely a good option for them. What's left to be seen is how they are going to use him next season. Then we'll understand why they are going for him.
Yeah. So, Choma, 55 million for Mason Mount, good deal for Chelsea, or good value or bad business for Manchester United, or overpaid player for Manchester United? What do you think?
No, I think I'm just going to go with everything Tony said. Mason as an option, no, I think he's the deal, because Tony talked about Anthony's wing, and we all know that Anthony has been a bit wasteful, and the amount of money that was paid to buy that human being was a lot. Okay, so if they are willing to pay that amount of money to get Mason, I don't think he's coming there to come and be a standby. He's coming there to ginger Anthony, because Anthony, when he was coming, he felt like he was coming with something, but he just came and just made a mess of his role. He's being very wasteful on the ball. He forgets to score. He doesn't know how to place his ball correctly. I don't know what's up with that guy, but I don't think as Mason as an option. He was never an option, even in Chelsea. Even in Chelsea, he was never an option. I think he's a real deal. And if there's a wing, I think I want to see him play, is that Anthony's wing. If they can do like 4 games for him, I'm sure we will see why they paid that amount of money for that guy. He's a good guy.
Really harsh on my namesake. Don't forget this is the season.
Now, who is being emotional?
So the Mason Mount deal, who got a better deal? Chelsea receiving 55 million for him, or Man United getting him his quality for their squad next sum and paying 55 million?
I think it's a fair deal. It's a fair deal. I liken it to the Havertz Arsenal deal. Chelsea fans are kind of clouding, painting all this thing to be a wonderful thing for them, and I'm laughing. I'm laughing because you have a club in turmoil that made some really good players look bad. And those players have decided, hey, I'm not going to keep staying here and being made to look bad when I know I'm better than this. And they are saying, I'm not going to stay here anymore, I'm moving. And the club is getting value for them. And you guys are laughing and hailing yourselves for selling them at supposedly high prices. Mason Mount, if he was playing for any other club with the ability he has and the talent he has and being English, would go for nothing less than 50 million. Typically, for his level of talent, I think it's fair enough. If they pay 55 for him, it's fair enough. He's within the ballpark. Just the way Havertz is the starting forward for Germany. Germany is one of the most highly rated countries in the world, right? And he's just 24. Mount is 25. Why would anyone? I'm just answering this in a long way. The short answer is fair deal for both clubs. I think that if United get him, they're getting good value. Chelsea get him for that amount, they're getting good value for a good player.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Man U, United, paying that amount of money to get that talent, looking at it from that perspective, is a good deal. But on Chelsea, I would say if I had to choose one side, I would choose Chelsea that got a good deal. Why do I say that? This guy came from their academy. It didn't cost them nothing. So they are recouping, and they just started paying him professional. Probably they have not spent up to 4 million paying his salaries, or 5 million since he signed his professional contract. So they're getting a huge amount of profit into their books. So that represents a very good. We can say anything we want to say about Chelsea, but one thing that club has is how they know how to negotiate deals. They know how to get value for their players when they are selling. Yeah, I don't think Chelsea ever sells any player at a loss. Even Koulibaly.
Hey, Reggie, may I differ? This is one of the myths. This is one of the myths that they peddle all over the place. They sold Havertz at a loss. No, I can list 5 players that they'll tell you. They sold Havertz at a loss.
No.
They sold what's this guy's name? Koulibaly at a loss.
Hold on. What I mean when I talk about loss, Kai Havertz has been in Chelsea for 2-3 years. He has won Champions League.
My brother, they sold him at a loss. Whether he stayed there for 2 years,
hold on.
They sold him at a loss.
Considering what's going on.
Don't paint them to be masters of the transfer market. Yes, they've done good deals, but they sold players at a loss. Don't paint it the other way.
No, what I mean is, okay, look at PARTEY. The performance he gave to Arsenal last season, and somebody is coming to buy PARTEY for 40 million. Kai Havertz scored only 7 goals for Chelsea last season, and he played almost all their games up front. And Arsenal is going to pay 65 million for him. So that's what I mean. If Kai Havertz,
do you know how much? 65 million is with add-ons. Do you know with add-ons how much they bought?
The guaranteed fee for Kai Havertz is 50 million. I think 15 million is.
Thank you. But the guaranteed fee when they bought him 2 years ago was 65. He was with add-ons, he was going to get to 92. But nobody says these things. All they tell you is that they're selling at
what I'm trying to say is this: if Kai Havertz had performed the way he performed for Chelsea, for Arsenal last season, I guarantee you, Arsenal will not sell him for 65 million. That's my point. That's what I'm trying to say. And you can see PARTEY with his performance. A club dares to bid Arsenal 40 million for PARTEY. So that tells you, that's my point. We always, Chelsea always manage to get good value, not at a lot. Maybe I used the wrong term. They always manage to get good value for their players when they are selling. I don't know how they do it. I don't like Chelsea as a club, but I mean, in this channel, we try to put it straight out there the way we see it. I'm not going to be biased about it, but somehow Conte is finished. He barely played 10 games for Chelsea last season. They still sold him. Okay, I think he's on free transfer. Koulibaly that you mentioned, Koulibaly for me is a flop at Chelsea. And they're still getting 35 million for him. They bought him for, I think, 55 million. So that's what I'm saying. So somehow, they still, Mendy lost his place since before after the season last season. And they're still selling him for money. If it was Arsenal, look at what's his name? Our goalkeeper that we sold last season. It was 10 million. To Fulham, our first choice keeper that barely lost his what's his name again? What's our keeper now?
Again. All the things you're saying, put them in context. These guys.
I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I said they managed to get value. I don't care what the context is. My point is that this guy lost his place. He's a good goalkeeper. Arsenal want to sell him. I'm receiving 10 million for him. Chelsea is going to receive only God knows how much for Mendy. So my point is somehow, and this has been there for years.
They will receive that for Mendy because
Mendy won a World Cup. Mendy won a World Cup.
How about Kepa? Kepa that they bought for almost 100 million.
Oh
Kepa
yeah,
I mean,
the reason why Chelsea
have an overbloated squad.
I guarantee
full of players that they paid hundreds of millions for. Why wouldn't they get? They will get some money back now.
No, not so. I guarantee you, the reason why Chelsea has not sold Kepa is because they have not gotten a good bid for him, and Chelsea will refuse to lose. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they make profit of those players, but they get.
Are you saying did they get any bid at all for Kepa?
If they want they want to get rid of him.
Before you said they did not get a good one. I want to know if they got any.
You won't know. I'm sure they would have tried to offload him, and nobody has
a record that guy is the most expensive goalkeeper in history.
Of course, 72 million.
Can you imagine? And nobody is coming for him.
You remember Morata came to Chelsea, flopped. Chelsea got back the money they paid for him, even as a flop.
Well, I think I can't totally disagree with you because I've not really looked at it that way. But to say like they are the best at it, maybe I have to go do some research on that as well.
My point is, you're saying that if I buy if I buy Reggie for 100 million and I buy Tony for 80 million, yeah, for the same position, yeah, and Tony is shining while Reggie is not shining, and I play Tony because he's shining, Reggie is not shining, and after one season, I decided to keep Tony because he was shining and sell Reggie because he didn't shine, and I sell Reggie at 70 million. You come and shout, oh, I got value. You don't get any value because you have players all over the place.
No, what I'm saying is, in that same scenario, if he plays that in Arsenal, I will go for 30 million. Chelsea,
No.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That is why I'm debunking what you're saying, because you're making Arsenal look bad that they don't know how to do deals these days.
No,
but that's not true. And it's not just because of no. I don't have the same circumstance.
In the last 10 years or there, but in fact in history, our biggest sell is Alex Iwobi, 35 million.
It's not you're operating this stuff in a silo.
No, that's our highest sell.
Context.
Our highest
how many sellable assets? How many sellable assets have we had, and how much did we spend on them? Chelsea have these sellable assets because they spent millions of dollars on them.
Okay,
so they have to sell them.
Okay, I'll give you one example. What's his name? Pepe. 32 goals in Lille. Arsenal signed him. Hold on. Arsenal paid 72 million for Pepe. Yes. Arsenal wants to offload Pepe right now. I guarantee you, Arsenal will not get 35 million for Pepe.
Yes, because when you were buying Pepe, you didn't buy two other players with that same amount of money. And all of them will be trying.
That's what I'm telling you.
You bought only one.
That's my point. That's my point.
You bought only one. Your point is not valid because it's not the same circumstance. It's not the same circumstance. That's my point. You know, when you buy.
Okay, Ugum, with the quality of Beleno as your keeper, he went to Fulham with 2 years left in his contract for 10 million in this market last season.
Yeah.
Leno.
For 10 million.
What would you have sold him for? What would you have sold Beleno?
Beleno should at least command a fee within 25-30 million.
Not really. I disagree. Okay. I disagree. I love Leno.
And he's not a bad goalkeeper.
Please tell me which club will pay 25-30 million for Leno. Tell me, it's not just.
Fulham came for him. That means they know his qualities.
Okay, remove Saudi Arabia. Remove Saudi Arabia and their discussion with Chelsea and whatever was happening behind the scenes. Tell me which other clubs in Europe will pay this money that are being paid to Chelsea now for these players that you're hailing, if not for Saudi Arabia.
Hold on. Arsenal has been trying to buy Declan Rice since over 3-4 months now. Declan Rice for me is a good player, good value for him. 80 million, 85 million. Newcastle are saying no. If it was Arsenal, they would have sold this guy since for 85 million. So my point, I love my club, but we need to do better. We need to find a different way to sell in selling players. We don't get value for players when we want to sell them. That's my point. I'm not trying to say I love Chelsea, but when it comes to selling players, we don't do well. We don't do well.
Yeah, well,
we don't.
In Transit TV, we let the facts out. So that our listeners can evaluate from all angles, right? Yeah, so I'm laying the other angle out so they can also evaluate.
Yeah,
let's just
won the Nations Cup in South America. Arsenal didn't want to sell him. He said he wanted to go. In that position, Arsenal was in a strong position. If Aston Villa had come to sign him, he said, well, he's a keeper, he's under a contract, we're not going to sell. Then force our hands to sell by offering better money. But what do? We put it to 25 million from Aston Villa and get them Martinez. So these are the things that's what I'm talking about. So we need to be a little bit more difficult to deal with when it comes to selling players. Before you know it, that's not.
Are you regretting us giving Aston Villa Martinez? Are you regretting us giving Aston Villa Martinez?
No, I prefer them. I'm saying get value. Get value.
I have to go.
Yeah, get value.
I have another meeting. I have to go.
We tried. We didn't know he was going to win a World Cup. We tried our best. Come on, seriously.
My point is that at that time, he had contract with Arsenal. So we were not under compulsion to sell him. He's the one that's saying that he wants to go. So what normally happens, club will tell you, fine, you can go. But if you find a club that's going to give us what we want, you can go. That's the way.
I have to agree with you, Reggie, because despite some of the players you called, we can even go way back, and look at the players like Ozil.
Yeah.
About the number of seasons he played, and yeah, he fell out of favor. Aubameyang, all these players were bought with some good amount of money. And what did Arsenal get in return? Actually, absolutely nothing. It was almost like a waste.
Yeah.
And Chelsea has been able to do the same, making good business. Lukaku came flopped, and I'm telling you, Lukaku right now, his value in the market is crazy, and they're thinking of bringing him back. But I tell you, if you want to sell Lukaku today, you can't sell it for 30 million.
Exactly. 78 or something, cover something, and just move on.
It could possibly be above 50. It will shock you. Clubs will buy Lukaku.
Exactly.
So you're certainly right, because you've given us definitely good facts there. I think yes, they do get but when it comes to signing, they have more misses than hits.
Yeah, of course. Exactly. When it comes to performance, I agree with you, but somehow I don't know. Even when they say this player has flopped, Chelsea doesn't lose. Somehow,
look at Rudiger, Thibaut Courtois. The list is long.
Exactly. They used Havertz to almost dead. They still got off from him, and he went to Real Madrid. He couldn't do nothing for Real Madrid. So somehow they have the way of.
I think their players go to die.
Exactly. So when you're in negotiation and somebody wants what you have, he puts you in a strong position. Then you can, that's what's happening with West Ham now. West Ham knows that Arsenal wants the Clyde.
I knew this guy forced his transfer then to Manchester United, talking about Sanchez. And I thought Arsenal would have really made so much out of that.
Exactly.
Same thing happened, Look, and he was a key player at Arsenal.
Yeah, look at Danny Levy now. Harry Kane has just 1 year left in his contract. If he was to be asked now, even we, our fans, will start panicking, selling him now.
Let's cash out. Yeah, let's cash out.
Yeah, but the guy is staying put. Somehow, before you know it, now he will sign a new contract.
Yeah.
And then he wants to sign Harry Kane. They say to be 250 million.
Even though I've not mentioned anything about Thomas Partey, but something I felt like, just like you said, we're not really knowing much about what is going on in the background. But do you think, like the signing of Jorginho and him not getting as much playing time as he used to get towards the end of the season, don't you think that could have motivated, be forcing him out of Arsenal?
Yeah, the thing is, if I were Partey, Arsenal has suffered for Partey as against Partey might suffer being in Arsenal. How do I say that? Partey has not been durable since he came to Arsenal. When he's fit, he's one of our best players. But he has disappointed Arsenal so many times by not being available in big games. Last season, one of the reasons why we didn't win the league is not just Saliba's injury, because Partey ran out of steam. So if I were to be him, being in the mix of days, I want Arsenal to sign a player that will keep me fresh, so that I don't have to be playing all the games.
Don't forget we are looking at it from Partey's perspective.
That's what I'm saying.
As a club, Arsenal have every right. Like you said, they have been very patient with him. He's we can say he's sometimes injury prone, and they always long spells. I understand, there was a dip in his performance towards the end of the season. But Partey, on the other hand, just looking at the competition he's getting from Jorginho, don't you think that's enough? That's what is actually forcing him out of Arsenal.
No, that's what I'm saying. If he's being realistic with himself, Partey has not played one season for Arsenal. He always misses at least 1/3 of the season. So if I'm the one, sometimes Arsenal pushing, like he manages to get. There was one match we were playing. He went to the ground and that practically got him up and told him and pushed him to the field. Go back there and play. So if I'm the one and knowing that I'm injury prone, yes, I will need that pressure. Okay, someone that can come and play 2-3 games in my place and get some rest and come back. So when I come back, the team will say, I will miss this guy. As against people telling me I'm not playing well. Meanwhile, inside me, I knew that I was playing because I had injuries. So that shouldn't be the case. It should be happy that going to Champions League next season, playing FA Cup, League Cup, and I'll have people that I can share the minutes so I can stay fresh and last longer. Partey goes for international games. Arsenal is flying him with a medic. They're going to watch and make sure that he stays fit. So with that option, he needs it, we need it, if he's being objective. So that's the way I see it, but I don't know.
I don't think he's been objective anyway, because what would a player like El Neni say all the season? Just staying there as a backup, not getting as much playing time as he should get. He's not really a bad player,
No,
for
he's
me,
not.
but
He's not.
he's been there before PARTEY. They signed PARTEY, he wasn't getting playing time. But if PARTEY decides to leave, probably because he wasn't getting playing time as he should, or he felt like Jorginho came in, or even because fans booed him, then I feel like he's afraid of competition.
Exactly.
And when you're afraid of competition, it means you're not ready to bring in your best, because he's been, at some point he became comfortable, and that really affected performance. Competition brings out the best out of a player, and it will be ridiculous for him, he has also become a star player for his country, to be moving to Saudi Arabia, because it's very much like it's all done for him. I don't see him.
Yeah, I hear Juventus have entered the race, and probably it looks like he prefers Juve. But again, you know where Juve is right now. They're not playing in Europe because of what happened with them. And that club has been the next, they've been in a decline the last 2, 3, 4 seasons. Players go there, the next season they want out. So I don't even know if it's a good place for him. If I were,
he'll be walking into a problem if he goes to Juventus, because even Di Maria recently left the club. And trust Juventus to always go for agitated players. Whenever players are agitated with their clubs or maybe anything, you just go to them to get them on the field. It's crazy. And that's why their club is looking like an old boys association of players who have long past their prime or really not at their best. It's funny.
Yeah, but that one might not work, because I know Arsenal want money. So Juve, they can't pay money right now. They want to beg the player to almost come out on a free transfer, and Arsenal wants money. So that might not work out. And that's my problem. The next thing you will hear now, because he has been a good player for Arsenal, good relationship, Arteta is willing to let him go to the player of his choice. Arsenal will get 15 million, 20 million, and he'll go to Juve. Then the next is Juve will send him to Saudi Arabia for 60 million. You know, those are the things I'm worried about in Arsenal. I remember Bellerin, there was a club in Spain. I wanted to pay Arsenal 15 or 20 million. He said he's not going to that club. He wanted to go to Real Sociedad. And because of the relationship with Arteta and Arsenal, they let him go for free. You know, they sent him on loan. Then this season now he will go for free. They said that they're happy that the club is going to pay his salary. Then this season he will go for free or something.
I think it also has to do with Arsenal, just like you said. Not once players started giving them this attitude, they've not been able to manage it in the past year.
Yeah,
and because they are afraid of drama. Look at how messy it has got with Ozil. It became messy against with Aubameyang. When they start forcing a move, it can cause a lot of disruption. They are on a place where they don't need such drama. So I feel like, especially, I don't want to judge Arteta by what has happened in the past. When I look at Arsenal right now, I'm looking at Arteta, you know, because I feel like he's changed a lot. There's a place where he wants Arsenal to be, and if I feel like this guy is a little bit agitated right now, because kind of disruption. It will be wise not to look at the value you're going to get out of the deal. Just let him off and have a clean, decent room.
Yeah, but you got to be careful too, so that you don't form as a coach. The only player that wants to go, they just start one trouble. They know that the
culture is there already. The culture is there already, Reggie. Like you mentioned, the culture is there already, but it's not something that you will change automatically. It has to be systematic. It's time, and you need the right kind of players. Then you start, making those beats.
Okay, I think we are giving a very big shot tonight on your side. I still have to know over here. Joma, thank you for coming, guys. Before we go, I want to remind you again to subscribe if you have not subscribed to this channel. Get busy in the channel. We have discussed a lot of topics today, a lot of players giving different perspective and dimensions. Let us know what you think about Tottenham Hotspur. We know what they are. We know who they are. Tony, sorry, the wrong place. If I would say that. So let us know what you think about all these players and these transfers, these deals that we discussed today. Do you agree with Tony? I have had a little hit today with Ugum. He disagreed with me for the first time in a very, very serious manner. So, Via, take your position. Are you for Ugum or are you with Reggie? So, and we hope to see you again in the next video. Thank you and bye for now. Tony, thank you for coming, Choma. Good to see you again.
Bye.
And I remind our viewers as well, Tony, we had our fan theater, the part 1 2 weeks ago. So between the second and the final one, probably next week, I hope to have you because we'll be choosing our players and the managers of the season in the whole of Europe. You know, I hope you have watched that that episode. That you will be able to join us in the next one. Thank you guys for coming, and bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.